everybody, welcome to another edition of the Sunday Sunshine Show. And this week the Housewives are going to talk about things that we had when we were young that we don't see now or are obsolete now. So if that's something you think you're interested in, keep watching. Well, welcome to another Sunday edition of the Sunday Sunshine Show. This is brought to you every Sunday morning at 7:30 by three YouTuber friends. We all do the same topic. There's myself, Busy Bee Marie and Maria Crocker. And because we're all different ages, it's not the same video. So please pop across to their channels and see what their memories are. We call ourselves the Transatlantic Housewives because there's two of us who live in England, and Marie, Busy Bee Marie, lives in Las Vegas. So there's myself, Busy Bee Marie, who lives in Vegas, and Maria Crocker. Now, I didn't say she lived in the Cotswolds, but apparently I was told it's not the Cotswolds, but she lives in the UK. So let's get straight into the video. Now, this is a video that I've thought about doing for a while because you know, your memories when you're young, you've got these lovely warm memories of things that you don't see now. Peggy's just chewing something on the settee. You'll have to excuse me filming in here. It's a struggle at the moment trying to find somewhere to film because my house is upside down because I'm having my lounge done. I've nothing in there at the moment. The decorating is finished, but I'm waiting for the new floor, which is coming on Monday. And then the house is really upside down. There's things all over the place. So I've just managed to sneak in here, but the lighting's not very good in here. So anyway, sorry, I'm digressing again, aren't I? So let's talk about when we were young. Well, I was born in 1949. So my early years were the 1950s. So I tried to think of things around the 1950s that I thought you can't see now. You probably can find some of these things, but I don't know where. Now, the first thing that I was thinking of was a rag and bone man. We used to have a rag and bone man that used to come around the streets every week on a horse and cart, and he used to shout, rag and bone, rag and bone. And if you got any, it's probably a bit like the scrap guys nowadays. If you had any rags, any clothing or anything, you used to take them out to them. So that was one thing. You don't see them now. You do see the scrap metal people going round, but the rag and bone man used to take anything. Then we used to have a pot man that came round for fizzy drinks. He used to come round every week and sell you fizzy drinks, and they were in glass bottles. I mean, I don't know. We didn't have fizzy drinks a lot as a child. It wasn't something that you did have like you do now. But there was this pot man that came round with all sorts of different fizzy drinks, like dandelion and burdock, limeade, all sorts of different things. And you used to return the bottles. You used to return the empty glass bottles, and they used to recycle them. So recycling's not a new thing. So we used to return them and then they'd get refilled. So that was someone that came around that you don't see nowadays. Then another thing that I remember was Watch with Mother. I don't know whether you can all remember it. You see, in those days, you didn't have daytime TV. The TV used to come on, I think it came on in the morning for the news. I'm not too sure about that. But it didn't come on until tea time. But at lunchtime, you used to have Watch with Mother. Well, we didn't have a TV, but my nana and granddad did. So I used to go round to their house every day for 1 o'clock to watch with Mother. And I think Monday used to be Picture Book. Tuesday was Andy Pandy. Wednesday, I think Wooden Tops, I think. And then Thursday it was Ragtag and Bobtail. And Friday was Bill and Ben. These were all kiddies programmes. And it was only on for about 15 minutes, but it was every day. So every day I used to go and see my nana and granddad and watch that. I'm just looking at my list here. my iPad's next thing is a dial telephone. Now you perhaps do see these on the TV quite a bit, but the dial telephone, I mean, it was quite a good invention, wasn't it? Because you used to dial the numbers round instead of just pressing them like we do now. There was like all these holes. If I can find a picture, I'll put one in. And you used to dial it round, and it used to equate to the number. So that was quite good. Oh, Peggy, shush, she's looking out the window. Peggy, everybody going past. Good girl, she was looking out the window. No, don't bark. And barking at everything. Right, the coal man. Now, the coal man used to come round, I don't know, it's every week or once a fortnight, and deliver coal to houses, you know, because we didn't have gas fuel or electric fuel, it was coal. And you used to have like, it used to be delivered into your cellar. There was like a grate on the ground level that they used to tip the coal down and it was delivered into the cellar. So you don't see a coal man anymore. Nor do you see black and white TVs very much. The first TVs that came out were in black and white, and there was only the BBC, so you could only watch the BBC, so you didn't have the choice that you've got now. And also, if you went to the cinema, there was always Pathé News on in black and white. She's jumped up there again. Peggy, don't be barking. Pathé News. You used to go to the cinema and you used to, I mean, much better value for money. One, it was cheaper, and two, you used to get an A movie, a B movie, a cartoon, and the Pathé News. So that was really good, and the news was always in black and white. A lot of times the B movies were in black and white in those days. Right, another thing is telegrams. Do you remember telegrams? If you wanted to send a message to somebody, you nearly always got a telegram when you got married. It was like, I suppose it was like a teleprinter, so I don't know how, you did it at the post office, you wrote it out, and then they'd teleprint it, and then a man on a motorbike would go and deliver it on the day. And it was a telegram. If I can find a telegram, I'll put a photo in, because I think I've still got some at the back of my wedding album. Most people got telegrams when they got married. Now it's just an email. Cigarette machines. Of course, everybody smoked, you know, which obviously was so bad for the health, but it was a fashion thing. I mean, I've never smoked, but obviously in the 50s, I was very young. But I remember my parents did, and I remember there being cigarette machines everywhere, you know, where they could put, I think it was something like 2 shillings, which is like 10 pence. You used to put the money in and get a packet of cigarettes out, you know, turn the handle, a packet of cigarettes and bark. She's going to bark in a minute. Peggy, shush, there's a dog going. The thing is, the difference in the sweets in those days, not so much chocolate, although there was chocolate, but it was expensive. You know, I do remember fat fry. Oh, Peggy, down. I do remember 5 variety chocolate. I used to love that. It was a bar of chocolate. I used to love Fry's mint cream and Fry's Turkish Delight, which you can get nowadays. But the 5 centre was like each piece, you know, like they come in 5 pieces in a Fry's chocolate bar, was a different flavour. They'd be like strawberry, lime, orange, coffee cream. I used to love coffee cream. You don't see those much nowadays. And then the other sweets were the Barrett sweets. You used to get for, well, in old money, it was old money when I was young. So in old money, you get 20 shillings was £1. And for a shilling, you used to get 12 pence. And you used to be able, which is like 5p. 12 pence is 5p nowadays, obviously, with inflation and that. But you used to be able to go to the sweet shop and you used to get, and this is in old money, maybe 5 pence worth of sweets, or 5 pennies as we would say in those days. And you used to get like 4 fruit salad sweets, little tiny square candy sweets, fruit salad flavoured. Sort of a bit like, oh, what would you call them? A bit like Opally fruits type of thing, only not as tangy. Or you could get blackjacks, which were little squares of licorice. If I can find pictures, I'll put them in. And you used to get 4 for a penny, so they were like a farthing each, you know. And you also, the other sweets that I used to remember, you used to get like milk teeth. They were like a candy. And shrimps. Does anybody remember shrimps? They were like a soft, not marshmallow, but a soft candy they were. And refreshers. But yeah, I think you can get refreshers nowadays. sherbet dips. Another thing that I used to remember was green fairy soap, household soap. I mean, you used to use it for everything. You didn't have all these different soaps that you do nowadays, or hand soaps. Just a bar of green fairy soap. How good for the environment. And toothpaste in a tin. It was Gibbs toothpaste, and it used to be in a tin, and you used to rub your brush round and brush your teeth. She's going to start barking again. Then the other things in the house, washboards. They used to rub the washing up a washboard. Rug beaters. I can remember my nana and my mum going out, and they used to have a washing line across the street. They'd hang the rugs over and beat them with this great big beater, which was like a great big sort of tennis racket type of thing, you know. Then in the bedroom again, eider downs. They're all coming back though, aren't they? Candlewick bread spreads, chamber pots. What do you call it? What did my nana call them? Chamber pots or potties or whatever, were like a ceramic pot that went under the bed for you to go to the toilet in the night, because most people had outside toilets. They didn't have internal toilets. And I can remember my nana going around with a bucket emptying them all in the morning. How awful. And then the other thing is, do you remember at everybody's birthday, you used to have a rabbit jelly mould? You used to have like jelly and cream. It was always evaporated milk. And you used to have this jelly rabbit mould. And then another thing that I remember, are cereal box toys. Does anybody remember that? In a box of cereal, you used to get like a little surprise toy. And you used to love it, you know. I mean, because you didn't, it was, anyway, I mean, it wouldn't be good for health and safety nowadays, but it used to be anywhere in the cereal box. So you pour the cereal out. If you got the toy, you were really lucky. All sorts of different little tiny toys you used to get. You know, that was lovely. And then some of the sad things that I remember is, I shouldn't finish on sad things. I'll have to think of something else at the end. I remember seeing all the children on the Pathé News in the iron lungs, you know, before we were immunised against polio. I mean, I do remember because the children used to have to, I mean, I think a couple of them had to have them for most of their lives. These big iron lungs. See if I can find a picture. And there used to be wards of children where these iron lungs did the breathing for them. Makes you realise the importance of vaccinations. Although that's a touchy subject, so, you know, everybody has their own opinion on it. But I do remember we all had to go to like the local cinema to get our polio injection in the 50s when it first came out. So now I'm going to have to think of something cheerful to end on. I remember as well, you used to get 3D comic books, and I used to love going to the newsagents to get one, and they used to have like a pair of these 3D glasses in that were like cardboard, and you thought it was really good, you know, with the 3D comic books. You did used to get lots of comics in those days. I suppose now everybody goes on their iPads and that, but you know, there was like, I mean, I don't know whether, I think some of them are around today, like Beano and Dandy and Bunty, and what I'm trying to think what else there was. And every year at Christmas, you used to get the annual of the comic that you got or that you liked. You know, you thought it was really good getting the annual. But you did read more books in those days. You know, I remember reading, you know, I used to love Enid Blyton and all that. There's all sorts. Anyway, what's your, I don't want to ramble on too much because I want you to go and watch Busy Bee Marie's video and also Maria Crocker. I'll put their links across the screen, but also in the description box. I'm sure you watch them every week, but I'd love you to go and watch them and let me know what your memories are of your childhood. It's amazing the things that we had, but it's also amazing that like we did recycle more then, even though people didn't think we do it now. I remember we used to collect jam jars and take them into the glass recycling plant, and they used to give you some coppers for them, you know. You know, things were reused more. We didn't have all this plastic that we have nowadays. And we are trying to get back to that, so that's a good thing. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little chat, and I'll see you in my next video. I've got a few in the pipeline, so keep watching. Thank you so much for consider subscribing or liking or leave me a lovely comment. Let me know what your memories are of your childhood. And also, if you could consider hyping the video, that would be brilliant. So, see you next week. If I don't see you before, pop across to the other girls' channels. Bye.